I told my husband to leave over a dumb coffee fight. It sounds ridiculous now, embarrassing, even, but that morning, I truly believed I was doing the right thing. I thought I needed space, a pause to breathe, to feel like myself again. What I didn't realize was that in that impulsive moment, I was pushing away the one person who had always made my world make sense. It began on a Sunday, one of those quiet, gray mornings where the house feels almost too still, like it's holding its breath. Michael was in the kitchen, humming a tune from the late 90s, the same one he always played when brewing coffee. He liked it strong, black, and mocked me gently for drowning mine in cream. "You want coffee or dessert?" he asked with that crooked grin that always managed to soften my edges. Normally, I'd roll my eyes and laugh. But that morning, laughter felt impossible. I was already teetering on the edge, barely slept, my head pounding after a week of stress. Looming work deadlines, bills that never ended, the constant hum of life pressing in. It was like living in a sealed jar where pressure built quietly but surely, and the smallest spark could make it explode. When he joked about my coffee, something inside me did snap. "You know what, Michael? Maybe I don't need your commentary first thing in the morning," I said, sharper than I intended. He blinked, startled. "Hey, I was just kidding. You okay?" And that's when it got worse. That softness in his voice, the concern, the calm, didn't comfort me. It made me angrier. I didn't want kindness. I wanted space. I wanted control. Something that was only mine. And so I started listing everything. Every little irritation. Every silent grievance that had been piling up over months. His teasing tone, his jokes, the way he never folded laundry, how he left his boots scattered by the door. He didn't interrupt. He just stood there, quiet, hands gripping the edge of the counter like he was bracing himself. "Sarah," he said finally, calm and steady, "is this really about coffee?" The words hit like a slap. Of course it wasn't. It never was. But instead of admitting the truth, that this was about fear, pride, and exhaustion, I threw the final punch. "Maybe you should just go, Michael. Seriously, I need space." For a long second, he didn't move. Then, slowly, as if he'd been expecting it all along, he nodded. No arguing, no begging, no slammed doors. He poured the rest of his coffee down the sink, grabbed his jacket, and left. And then, silence. I told myself I would feel relief, that I'd finally have the weekend to myself. Sleep in, watch whatever I wanted, answer to no one. But the house was colder than I remembered. The walls echoed. Even the creak of the floorboards felt lonely. By evening, my phone became an obsession. I kept checking for a message that didn't come. I told myself I didn't care, that this was the space I wanted. But every tick of the clock pressed harder on my chest. That night, I noticed his coffee mug still sitting in the sink, the one with the chipped handle he refused to throw away. I held it and just stared. I remembered how he held it with both hands every morning. Like the world could wait until he'd taken that first sip. And for the first time, I realized I might have made a mistake I couldn't undo. The next day, I tried to keep busy. Walks, laundry, cleaning, but everything felt off. His jacket was gone, his toothbrush absent. The shoes that used to annoy me now vanished. The emptiness was too neat, too quiet. Even opening the fridge was a small heartbreak. The half-full milk carton he bought the night before made me smile faintly through the ache. It was a reminder of him, of life we had shared without even noticing. By Tuesday, the silence became unbearable. I drafted a text. "Hey, can we talk?" and deleted it. Then, "Hope you're okay." Deleted again. Every word felt too small to repair what I had broken. I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know how to undo the damage. It's strange how you can live with someone for years, share a bed, share your fears, and yet not realize the weight of silence until it fills a room. That night, I couldn't sleep. I pressed my face into the pillow that still smelled of the cologne, cedar wood and something faintly sweet, and finally, the tears came. Hard, hot, merciless. I wasn't angry anymore. I was terrified. Space doesn't heal what needs closeness. That's what I understood then. The next morning, sunlight bled through the curtains. Warm, cruel sunlight. Every corner of the house whispered his absence. I sat on the couch with my phone in hand, thumb hovering over his name. I wanted to call, but what could I say? Hey, remember that coffee fight that ruined everything? No apology seemed big enough for the emptiness I had created. By Wednesday, the quiet began to gnaw at me. I replayed every argument we had ever had, realizing most started with something small: dishes, groceries, work stress, the trivial things couples argue about when they forget they're on the same team. I remembered one night months ago, sitting with him on the porch drinking coffee at midnight. I had told him I felt invisible, like life was a loop. He reached for my hand and said, "Then let's find a way to make it new again." I smiled back then, but I never really tried. Weeks passed. I reached for my phone to share small things: a funny commercial, a new coffee flavor, a bad day. Every routine that once filled our life together had dissolved into silence. Space had become distance. And then, one morning about a month later, I went to the cafe we used to visit. The barista asked, "No husband today?" I forced a smile and shook my head, but it hit me harder than she knew. I sipped a cup I couldn't finish. And then I saw him, across the street, carrying a bag of groceries. He looked tired, maybe thinner, but still unmistakably Michael. Our eyes met. For a second, neither of us moved. Then he crossed the street. "Hey," he said quietly. "Hey." I managed. Two people who once knew everything about each other now didn't know how to begin. I wanted to say I missed him. I wanted to admit I was wrong. But instead, I asked, "How have you been?" He smiled faintly, taking it day by day. He glanced at my cup. "Still too much cream?" I laughed. The kind of laugh that can break and heal at the same time. "Still too much," I said. We talked for a few minutes. Small things, nothing monumental. Then I took a breath. "Michael, I'm sorry for that morning, and for all the mornings after it too. I thought I needed space, but I think I just forgot how to be close." He didn't answer immediately. He just looked at me. Then finally, "I don't know where we go from here, Sarah, but I never stopped hoping you'd figure that out." There was no forgiveness yet, but something close. We walked together to his car. The silence between us felt different now. Not heavy, not suffocating. It felt like possibility. Before he got in, he turned. "Maybe next Sunday coffee?" "Only if you make it," I said. He smiled. That same crooked grin that had started everything. "Deal." As he drove away, wind brushing my face, the smell of roasted beans in the air, I thought of all the tiny, imperceptible moments we destroy without realizing they're the glue holding us together. Love doesn't collapse all at once. It erodes quietly, cup by cup, word by word, until one morning you wake up alone, wondering how something so small became so final. Maybe this time, I would learn to listen before the silence answered for me.